Hi, everybody. It's Miss Verbanic. Okay, so this is going to be math lesson 2 for week 1. Okay, so we're still going to be working on the telling time packet, and we're still going to go on with that. I think for this week, I'll still continue just telling time to the hour. So yeah, we'll just keep working on that. All right, so I was able to find, and you should have in your packet at home, it's called a Judy clock. Okay, I'm not sure if hopefully it's showing up the same way on the screen. But last time I was talking about parts of the clock, okay? So when I'm talking about parts of the clock, I'm talking about the hour hand, okay? Which shows it, what? To the hour. And then I have on my minute hand, okay? Which is the longer one, okay? And that just shows all of the minutes. And we're not gonna really go into the minute hand as much this week. We're just gonna stay in the hour. So when I'm talking about this is called the face of the clock. And hopefully I can see it in the screen. The numbers might be backwards. If not, then I will look back at that again. Okay, so just to give you a glimpse, this is the long one is the minute hand, the short one is the hour hand, okay? So when we're talking about, let's say 3 o'clock, so if I have my shorthand, which is my hour hand on the 3, when I say 3 o'clock, that means 300. It's going to be the 3, and then it's going to point to the 12. Remember, there's 12 hours on the face of the clock. All right, so I'm going to go right into the flip chart for you because hopefully those numbers did not show up backwards. If they did, then we'll find another way on the flip chart to show you as well. Okay? All right. So I'm just going to share the screen that I'm looking at right now with you. And we're going to continue actually working on writing the times to the hour, okay? So just like I showed you when we were looking at that little clock that I had, let's review what we have. So when you're looking at the clock, when the long hand or the minute hand is pointing to the 12, it's always written with a 00, okay? And that's just showing that it's on the 0 minutes, okay? Because there's 60 minutes in a clock. There's 60 minutes, okay? All right, so let's see. Let's go on to this one down here, the one that I'm pointing to. And this was kind of a difficult one on the previous page. So if we have our minute hand pointing to the 12, what does that always tell me? That it's gonna end in 00, okay? So no matter what could I do with all the rest of these? They're all pointing, the minute hand's all pointing to the 12. So what could I put in the second hand part? I could put 00. I know that they're all going to end like that because it's on the 0 minutes, okay? All right, so 00. So now all I'm really doing is looking at where the hour hand is or the shorter hand, okay? So on this one, I can see, and I think it's covered up slightly, but I'll just pretend, I'll draw it in for you. Let's say this little guy's the hour. So what is it pointing to? What number is the hour hand pointing to? It's pointing to the 12, okay? So I'm gonna put 12. So if I was to see that in the classroom, I could say, oh, it's 12 o'clock, okay? All right, let's look at the next one right here. I know that my minute hand or my longer hand is pointing to the 12, okay? So it's 00, and I say o'clock. Where is the hour hand pointing to, or the shorter one? 1, 2. So I would put a 2. So how would I read that? You're right, I would say it's 2 o'clock, okay? All right, let's go on to the next one. I already know that it's going to end in 00 because the minute hand or the longer one is pointing to the 12, okay? So where is the hour hand pointing to? What number is this that it's pointing to? Good, it's an 8. So if I was to see that in the classroom, I could say, it is what? 8 o'clock. Good. And you'll see that the hour hand is always pointed directly to that number. And the reason why I say that's important, and I can even draw a little line, zoop, is because when we start to work with minutes, it's going to be important to tell if the hour hand is a little bit past it, okay? Is it a little bit before it? That'll make a huge difference, okay? So it's pointing to this number. What number is this? The 1 and the 1 is 11. So if I was to read this, I could say it's 11 o'clock, okay? All right, we are going to go on to the next slide, all right? And it says, what time is it? Okay, so looking at this clock right here, right where I'm pointing, my minute hand is on the 12. So I know, remember I always have to have the 2 dots, that it's going to end in 0, 0, because that's the number of minutes that I'm at. So here's my 0 minutes, okay? 5, 10, 15, I'm just going to show you this quickly, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then this would end at 60, because remember how I said before, there's 60 minutes in an hour, okay? All right, so we're going to get more into that at the beginning of next week when we start talking more about half-hour time, okay? All right, so let's go back to talking about the hour. So it's pointing to the 0, right? So I'll write 0, 0. So where is the shorthand pointing to? Good, it's pointing to the 4. So I know that it's going to say 4 o'clock, okay? So what one would be my correct answer? Let's drag this. Oh, if I drag this big old mouth over, it says 4 o'clock or 4. So which one of these over here says 4 o'clock? Which one? Good, it's this one, okay? So I would circle 4 o'clock, okay? All right, so let's look at the next one. It says, what time is it? We're gonna practice with this one again. My long hand or my minute hand is still what? It's always pointing to the 12, okay? So, I'm gonna write my 2 dots. So I would say 0, 0, okay? Say o'clock. So where is my hour hand or my short one pointing to? What number is this? Good, that's a 9, that's a 9. So I'm gonna put a 9 right there. Okay, how would I read that? How would I read that? Would I just say it's 9:00 time? No, I would say it's 9 o'clock, okay? And I'm just gonna type it out for you too, to see how it looks. Okay, so you could either write the number 9 out, so I'll do it both ways. 9. O'clock is written like this. O apostrophe clock, 9 o'clock. Or I could write 9 and then O clock, okay? So these are all the same. Now, if I'm looking down at these, is this the answer? This one, 2, or 3? Good, it matches this one. So the time is 9 o'clock. All right. Check with the revealer, it says. So we're going to drag the mouth over. There it is, 9 o'clock, or it's written like this, 9 o'clock. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, let's see. All right, we're actually going to stop right there for today, and we'll come back to that. Okay, so at home, what I want you to do is actually practice with your duty clock. You can have your parents quiz you, and I want you to make sure you keep the long hand on the 12 and move it around, okay? So have your parents quiz you to ask you what time it is, okay? At this point, you should be getting pretty good at telling what time. If you're pointing the hour directly over, then it should show you, okay? I wouldn't leave it in the middle, okay? It has to be directly on, pointing to the number. okay? All right, and once you have that number, you can practice writing it as well, okay? All right, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk more about time during your math next week, okay? All right, I miss you guys. Bye-bye.